remember, kids, I'm giving no fucks today. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. No. That's why everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. Fuck. Oh, fuck you. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. No. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I ain't showered in a couple of days. These days have been a haze. I got crusty underwear. Ask me if I really care. The other day in the pit, throw this in a hand of shit. Let it go and it was sloppy. Nowhere near the porta potty. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I woke up with a prostitute, hungover but I still need a poop. She said I had whiskey dick. I just shrugged cause I give no shits. Then she said to be on my way. Then she said, hey, where's my pay? Right then she pulled out a gun and jumped out the window and away I run. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. No. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. That's why everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. Fuck. I don't give a fuck about superheroes, supervillain, and their whiny-ass preschool teacher, Mr. Fee. I don't give a fuck about 3 links and the piss poor excuse for bands that play there. I don't give a fuck about the Denton scene or cleaning up the vomit I inject from looking at any of their fucking faces. I don't give a fuck about Beaver and their half-brain guitar player, Paul. I don't need to get $5 rim jobs from Noogie to fund their tour van repairs. Nobody gives a shit that 20 years later Richard Haskins is still wearing his mom's fucking panties. If anyone in this sewer sludge we call a music scene is fucking offended by what I gotta say, just remember, kids, I'm giving no fucks today. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. No. That's why everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. Fuck. Oh, fuck you. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. I'm giving no fucks. No. Everybody sucks. I'm giving no fucks. I ain't showered in a couple of days. These days have been a haze. I got crusty underwear. Ask me if I really care. The other day in the pit, throw this in a hand of shit. Let it go and it was sloppy. Nowhere near the porta potty.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Inner Geekdom podcast, where we go and try and fill you in whatever nerdy things we can think of for that week, which this week We got a lot of nerdy things to talk about, by the way, because it's been Gamescom. a lot of video game news. That's why I brought in some experts, some video game aficionados today, because, you know, I am Rune. I am, of course, the one that normally is running things around here at the Inner Geekdom, but I brought in Mr. Well, we'll start out with Thane, since you were directly to the right of me. Hey, hello there, Thane. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm Thane. You might know me from some of the campaigns that we've run. A little bit of Red Dead. Hopefully some Fantasy Star here soon, and that's about it.
Yeah. All right, we'll throw it on down to Miss Drusy.
Yep. Sorry. But yes, of course, you've also probably seen me on campaigns with
With me.
Everything too, and Red Dead and whatnot.
Yeah, and you also do a lot of streaming of video games, so make sure that, you know,
Yep.
yeah, make sure that you guys go and follow her, Dead Dread Drusy. We do have you in the descriptor, so that way people can follow you as well as everyone else.
Awesome.
Yeah, all right, we'll throw it on over to Mr. J Rod.
Yes, I am the J Rod. I'm a
are.
musician and a robot repairman. I do stuff on the internet. You can follow me at JRod_live on TikTok, RP_JRod on Twitch. Check me out on there. Definitely check out my TikTok. Lots of fun videos on there, and you can find my music anywhere it's streamed. Feel free to follow me and shoot me a message if you want to know more about all of the amazing recordings I've done over the last 20 plus years. On to you, Mr. Rune.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I heard that you became a robot repairman because of your deep crush for Rosie the Robot from the Jetsons.
Yes, I bought a life-size replica of Rosie the Robot.
Oh.
And we were having alone time one night, and things malfunctioned and sparks flew everywhere. I got scars from it. And that happened more than once. I had to take the robot to get it repaired, and it was starting to get costly. So I was like, for all the money I'm spending on robot repairs, I could just go to robot repair school.
It makes so much sense now. This all adds up. You good there, Thane? All right, but yeah, so I am Rune, of course. Usually I'm around here playing some video games, occasionally a tabletop game. And also, check out all the coverage I've been having at Gamescom over on the YouTube and TikTok for the Inner Geekdom. A lot of stuff been posted this week, but we're actually going to be going over a lot of that after we get done with our first segment, which, as always, is time for the weekend What to Watch, where we tell you what you should be watching this weekend. Do we have any volunteers that would like to go first? I see. Usually that's where J-Rod goes and hops in, so I'll get things started. Since we don't have Shorty this week, I figured I would go and give an anime recommendation with Fairy Tail, the 100-Year Quest, or just Fairy Tail in general if you haven't watched the first series of it. This is a fantasy anime that is not an isekai. Just putting that part out here first. And it is, you know, it's about a guild of magicians, and they go on different quests. It's a pretty simple premise, but the characters are very quirky and over the top and very fun to watch, and that's really what draws you in. Like, also the music, I'm not gonna lie, the music for this one, I think that you would actually enjoy just going to listen to the music for it, J-Rod, because they take a lot of classical music and make it into like scores for the show. So like you'll hear like a classical song that you're like, you know, the tune to, but then they'll put it to like a more modern feel for like a fight or something.
Oh, like don't stop believing.
Well, I'm talking more like classical, not classic rock. You know, there's close, but no
Does that
cigar.
qualify as oldies yet?
Are you talking about like she don't lie, she don't Rogaine.
So
that one.
So I think that Thane, at least you have probably watched some of Fairy Tail. Do you have any thoughts about this series that you would like to kind of throw out there of why you might enjoy it?
So it's very Dragon Ball-esque for people that were a big fan of that series. in the way that a lot of the arcs go and a lot of the combat sequences. It's kind of like a hodgepodge between One Piece and probably original Dragon Ball, in my opinion. But I mean, it's a solid watch. There's a couple of moments that'll hit you right in the feels, but they're thankfully rather spread out.
Yeah, it's a fun series though, and the fights are very enjoyable. Like I said, the story is usually very simple of, oh, there's an evil wizard guild over here. Our guild gets in fight with evil wizard guild. There's a really fun fighting tournament at some point. You know, I mean,
it's a fun, amazing guild.
Yeah. Now, So, Drusy, do you have any familiarity with Fairy Tail or possibly even any of that author's other works, such as Rave Master or Eden Zero?
No, I've watched Fairy Tail.
Oh, right. What are your thoughts on it then?
I definitely enjoy it, and I do kind of like how he described it, because actually, how he described it actually does fit.
Yeah, it does have a fun, whimsical exploration side to it. So it's not like one of the more heavy anime out there. So, you know, if you're wanting an easy watch that the plot's not too complicated, but the fights are fun and plenty of those moments where, oh, they're in real big danger. Here comes the main character, you know, like... It's a formula that has worked for a while. So I know, J-Rod, you're not big on the anime, so do you have any
very rarely
do you have any thoughts on this one, or would you like to move forward?
What happens is it's like a 1 in 100 deal, right? So
yes,
one time out of 100 I might actually follow through and watch an anime. Like, it took me a long time to watch Attack on Titan.
Yes,
but when I finally watched it, I liked it. But the other 99 times that I finally watch something, I'm usually like 10 minutes in, I'm like, no. Like, I can't even watch animated One Piece. I like the TV show, the live action, but I tried. Even falling in love with the TV show, live action, I went to go watch the anime, and I was like, it's just not the same for me. It's just not in my style.
Interestingly enough, since you brought up those two series, I'm just gonna put this little bit of this little nugget of news out here that One Piece's anime is being remade by Studio Wit, the same company that did make Attack on Titan.
So they're remaking the anime?
Yes, because basically when they've been making the anime for One Piece, they've been going along with the manga, which means that at some point there's no more manga to make, so they end up stretching stories out. That's where you get that Dragon Ball Z effect of people charging up for 10 episodes or filler arcs that nobody cares about. So now they're going to give us a more condensed, true to the story version of it that is a lot more faithful also to the animation, because when you're making those week to week anime, you're kind of having to do it quickly as opposed to quality. So this is very exciting for a lot of people that are very much being reintroduced or introduced to the first time to One Piece, but want a better adaptation of the manga than what we currently have.
Yeah, so no smoke breaks at the anime studio.
Right. But no, so I mean, I do think that is an exciting thing. So does anyone have any more suggestions that they would like to throw out there this week of what people could be watching this weekend? If not, I do have another follow-up.
Yeah, I got an anime. So like there was this one that I've been watching. It's really quirky and kind of cool, right? So there's these two space marines, and one of them's like a blue space marine, and the other one's a red space marine. And they get into like kooky little hijinks and stuff and different scenarios.
Oh man, this sounds awesome, man. I really hope that this studio is still around to make more of these.
Was it like Rooster Teeth or something like that?
We gotta bring Vane on more often.
Why?
Oh yeah, Rooster Teeth definitely got shut down recently.
Why do I have this knack for like bringing up bad news.
Did you know this one though? You knew this one, right?
No. Just like the Power Rangers one I knew. I knew
the Power Rangers.
Because we had Ben on, and I was like, I'm gonna say that we should watch Power Rangers because
I thought that you were doing another bit. No, yeah, Rooster Teeth was recently shut down.
I was just trying to name something like totally late and obscure because that was like back in the
Red
day.
versus
YouTube.
Blue, by the way, yeah.
Yeah, Red versus Blue. Yeah. And if you've never watched Red versus Blue, start at episode 1.
Oh man,
it's very funny. It's probably not funny actually. It's
is
probably
funny.
Very dated.
It is a little bit dated, but it still has its moments. But all right, so yeah, Red versus Blue. Go and watch it. Maybe they'll resurrect Rooster Teeth. I don't know. Do we have any more suggestions?
There's one. So this one is. There are people that died and came to this world, but I don't think it qualifies as isekai.
Okay.
It's the Fate series.
Oh yeah. I know that one. That's definitely not an isekai. That's people taking on avatars of like warriors of the past to fight in this like epic tournament. Little different.
I think with the Fate Stay Night, that was the closest one I would call an isekai.
Yeah.
Because you have that whole weird time flux thing.
Now, this one actually might be able to interest Jared somewhat, though, just because of the idea of having like actual historical figures come as their avatars to fight alongside them. That part is really cool. So you end up having like, who's the chariot guy? I forget who he's based after, but he's one of my favorites.
It's Iskander. He's one of the Greeks.
Yeah, but he just loves war, and that's why I love characters that are just like. There's a lot of them. They're like real dramatic. They're like, oh, we're having this epic war of blah 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 blah. I think you just have Iskander's like, yes, war, and those are my favorite characters, man.
I really liked. So I watched it out of order because I've only watched like 3.
Wait, there's an order of that series?
Yes.
There's so many of them. Like, this is the one reason I say not to get into it is like, just pick one that looks cool and only watch that one because there's a million different branches to this timeline.
So the only ones that are like hardcore, you will miss a lot of the information, is you have to watch Fate Zero before you watch Fate Stay Night because they are directly like
connected
before and after.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're great because I really liked how the intro for the first one went. And then when you find out what the main protagonist is like after doing all of this stuff, because it's like, yeah, I'm going to save everyone. It's like, do you know how many horrible people that I've had to go fight over millennia? And it's the same thing over and over and over again. Look, I'm tired of balls.
It's a good series. So does this one have any interest at all, Jared?
I mean, you'd have to send me like a trailer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would say this, if you don't want to watch the whole series, just going and watching the fights is really fun for that one.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what I'm really gonna like about an anime. You know what I mean? Like, so like Attack on Titan, the fights aren't exactly
I do have
what lures me in with that, I
do have one that I want you to try, weirdly enough, Jared. Specifically you, if you want to give something like, I'm going to say a 2 to 3 episode try just to come back and discuss it with me.
There's another anime I saw, and I'll watch yours if you watch mine, right?
Okay. How many episodes do I have to commit to?
One. There's only one episode.
Oh.
And basically there's this unicorn who's friends with these smaller unicorns, and they're like, his name's Charlie, and they're like, Charlie, we're gonna go see
all of them. Obviously, I've seen all of them, Jared.
I've seen all those.
Now, actually, if we could get away with doing a reaction, like a retrospective, without getting hit with the copyright, I'd be down for like doing a stream of us going back and watching all the Charlie and the Unicorn. I think we might be able to get away with it, but I'll look into it. That'd be a fun one. Now, I want you to watch 3 episodes of Spy Family to tell me what you think.
Spy Family. Okay.
Okay. There's a Spy X Family, but the X is silent. It's a weird anime thing, but it's Spy Family. I actually, if you haven't seen it, Drusy, you also need to go and watch 3 episodes and come back to talk to me. Then you probably already watched it. Paquito, I actually went to the theaters and seen the movie. Yeah, so I do.
Who made it? Who made the show?
Which studio? The same ones that made Attack on Titan. But it's not that. So all right. So I'll give you a quick synopsis before we move on to the main topic of the show. You have a guy that is a secret agent. Think very James Bond, but it's based in this mythical version of like England. Not like magical, but just like altered history. So they're not using real historical things with it, kind of thing. And he is trying to get information from this one guy that the only time he's accessible is when he goes to functions for his sons at their prestigious school. So he goes and makes a fake family that he's trying to get this little girl that he just adopted into this prestigious school. Little does he know, the little girl that he just adopted is able to read minds, and the woman that he has brought on to be his fake wife,
yeah.
and the woman he's brought on to be his fake wife is an assassin. So the little girl knows both of their secrets, but the father and the mother are not exchanged, like they're hiding it from each other. So it's hijinks, very fun. It's cute, but still has really fun action.
No, it sounds interesting because Attack on Titan, the thing that really intrigued me about it was more so the politics of the different civilizations, if that makes sense, right?
Weirdly,
so that's
there is politics in this.
yeah it sounds like it would be more interesting. Like when you were like, oh, when you see the fight scenes you're gonna love it, and I'm like, well, fight scenes aren't gonna draw me in because anime fight scenes to me are boring.
It's more more of an art form with Wit Studios, particularly with Attack on Titan, that had very well flowing animation with it that is very impressive, where a lot of fights can come off very flat. I'm very impressed with their use of parallax that makes it feel more 3D.
Okay.
That's just an animation thing, but we have a lot to talk about today, guys. And I mean a lot, because this week has been Gamescom. Gamescom started, which is in Germany. We don't have E3 anymore, so this kind of became a huge event of just all the video game news that we could possibly stomach, and we still have more coming up tomorrow because I'm just going to start out saying I have so much content already on YouTube about this. More I will be posting, but tomorrow morning, make sure 10 a.m. to come hang out with me. I'll be live streaming the video game awards that are happening, but we are going to be discussing our big highlights, maybe a few lowlights. Maybe there's some things we weren't too happy about that we have seen so far at Gamescom. Does anybody want to just go and take a crack at something big that they are excited about? I can start it up if need be. Oh, you got one, Dane?
Oh, excited about?
Or mad about?
Really
you can be mad. You can be mad about it. What do you got?
So I've got two that are just really on my down list.
Oh no.
You have. I was not excited that Kingdom Come Deliverance got a second one.
Man,
because
that's on my most favorite. Like, dude, I'm so excited about that game.
See, I just couldn't do it for similar reasons. Why it was so hard for me to get into The Witcher is because the first Witcher, I'll give it the pass, and it's the only reason I played the game. Of at the time, its controls were not a dumpster fire.
Right.
For the time period that Kingdom Come Deliverance came in, there was no excuse to be that clunky.
Well, and we're hoping that the second one will be better. I mean, it looks like they have put a lot into it, because I watched the showcase earlier this morning where they were going over a lot of it. It does look like a pretty huge improvement, and it looks like a very immersive, it looks like if you're looking for realism when it comes to a medieval video game, this is where you're going to get it at, as opposed to something that has, because most of the time if you're dealing with medieval, you're also dealing with magic and, a more fantasy-esque side of it. So I'm actually really kind of hoping that this is a more grounded, game like that, because most of the time when you're dealing with realism when it comes to medieval stuff, it is more of a war game, it seems like, from what I have seen. So I'm actually hopeful, but I do know that it is one that I'm going to wait for the reviews for before I go and buy it full out.
Yep. And the second one, I know this is going to garner a little bit of hate. Let COD die.
Oh, Call of Duty?
It's been long enough. Just let it go.
I mean, it's like Madden though with Call of Duty, because there's a lot of really devoted fans to that game, and they're itching to get the new content. They're itching to get the new maps. They're itching to get all of that, and that's just, it's not your thing. It's not your thing. But you know, the game sales and the popularity of the game, it don't lie, you know.
I mean, I get that, but $60 for a map pack is kind of.
And that is kind of the thing. I do feel like it's kind of difficult when you're not seeing really big leaps unless there's a very engaging story. And I have heard in certain ones the stories have been very lacking to a point where it does kind of feel like it's just a new pack of maps and weapons, like you're saying. So I feel like if you're not going to put in a full new story and new content to it, it should just be DLC, maybe to a point to where it's an every other year kind of thing, which I know they kind of do since they have two different versions. But
yeah. So you definitely have that. You have kind of 3 different main Call of Duty versions. You have your Modern Warfare style Call of Duty. You have your standard Call of Duty, which is going to be like old school World War II type weapons and stuff like that. And then you have your Black Ops type stuff, which is going to be more futuristic weapons and more sneak and stealth and, you know, strategy and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of a mix to it. The Black Ops game is going to be a little more like agent versus agent type situations. You know, it's stuff that's under the radar, off the books. So there's a lot of different stuff to it. And I would just urge you. I too am tired of Call of Duty, but I'm coming from a place where I played a lot of it. I have a lot of friends that got me into playing it. Through the whole pandemic, when Warzone was fresh and brand new, we played it every day for like close to a year. So I'm a little burned out on it. But I will say that there has been advances in it since those days even. So they are constantly improving it, just from someone who doesn't put in more than a few hours maybe on it, or if you just see it in passing, it can look very similar. But I can assure you that the innovations are there, the fan base is there. I feel like the fan base is rewarded. I think more than anything, the letdown with Call of Duty a lot of times is their player base. That is what's going to let you down, you know, being, you know, like someone like me who's annoying when they play a game. I have fun with it. But if you're someone that doesn't want to get insulted, made fun of, poked at, that's not your game.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I mean, there's a lot of really good girl players, but it's definitely a boys club, and you got to be able to do locker room talk, or
definitely not a
you're not gonna feel very welcome there unless you can handle locker room talk.
Definitely not a game I have a lot of interest in.
Only Call of Duty I play is zombies.
I have a mild interest in it because it's a Black Ops game, and those are always the funnest as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, like they're
Call of Duty zombies. That's it.
The big reason it started to fall off for me was I would play through the campaign first as kind of like a tutorial. That's one of those you get the practice, you get to play the game.
Yeah.
And there was a string where it's like, these are really good, compelling stories, and it was just kind of like, desert, shoot guys, done. I'm like, you could have put. I realize this gets repetitive, but you could have put a little bit more effort in there, like original Black Ops, the whole psyop thing, and every beautiful piece. Price and that whole plane scene, beautiful, very well put together, and then they just kind of,
Well, obviously for me, it's not going to be something I'm that interested anyway. I don't really get into competitive shooters, but I do know that it is one of the most popular ones out there. I just hope whatever they do put out brings whatever the hell they're looking for in their shooting game.
I hope they deliver for their fan base, because they have a devoted one, and we have enough franchises out there that are total letdowns.
Well, and that's the thing is there's a ton of first-person shooters. You've got to either do it good or get out the way.
Well, Call of Duty's the best one.
Yeah,
that's the issue, is that as far as fluid playability, all that stuff, it's the best one. With that said, I know I was trying to sell it really hard right now, but for me, like, I'm burned out on it. So it's about a 6 out of 10 on interest levels.
Whatever the hell they're looking for in their shooting. All right, cool. Making sure that was working right. All right, so why don't we, since we already got you going, Jared, I know that you've got some games wrote down. What do you got for us that you are looking forward to that you've seen at Gamescom?
Well, there's some that I think we all share similarly,
and
stuff like that.
So off the lists.
Okay, well, what is it? Star Wars Outlaws? Is that the name of it?
That would be Star Wars Outlaws. Yes, actually, yeah. We talked
It
about this
looks-
one earlier.
It looks like the next Skyrim to me. As far as like, it looks like it plays really well. It looks like it's got a lot of depth to like they were going in and doing encryption and stuff, and what do they call it, slicing or whatever when they hack.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of that system looks like it's in depth. The graphics look amazing. It looks like it's open and exploring, like all that stuff.
Mhm.
So that game looks like it could have a potential to be a instant classic.
Now, I will say, because I am much like yourself, not always the biggest fan of stealth, but there is one exception to stealthy type of games that I actually really enjoy, and that is the Hitman franchise. And it's because the environment interacts with your stealth, as opposed to just I'm squatted down and trying to make sure that I'm going around the perimeter good enough. I hate that kind of stealth. That kind of stealth sucks. But if it's something where I'm actually being able to be creative, like, oh, I picked up hot dog and threw it over to the fence to distract dog so it doesn't bark while I'm going by. I love that kind of interaction, though. And this feels more like that, where the environment is playing along with how you are making your way through it. That gets me excited.
Well, that and I saw a scene where they were sneaking around the stormtroopers, and then they came upon a room where you couldn't sneak, or they got caught or something. So they had to fight their way out of a few stormtroopers. And that's my big bugaboo with stealth games sometimes, is that you're forced into either sneaking or dying.
Yeah.
Because if you're seen, it's like sometimes they don't even give you a chance to run or anything. It's just screen goes black and it's like you die.
Yeah.
Mission failed. And it's like, this is annoying. After like the 50th try, it's like, it's not even fun for me. So good. The example I made the other day talking to you was Skyrim. I like to be stealthy in Skyrim, so I'll sneak around, and you see a goblin walking around in the background, and you're like, you know what I mean, and like take him down, and you get like the multiplier for doing a sneak attack and stuff like that. That kind of stuff is cool.
I agree. And like I was saying, like with the environment interacting with you, that means that if you do mess up on your stealth, that means now the level has become harder for you, so you're rewarded for it. And I like that. It's a lot better than just being rewarded with, hey, you got through it, didn't you? Which is the normal reward. Like this, and the story looks good. It is set between it's set in between episodes 5 and 6. Yep. So we're still in the original trilogy, so that would be Empire and Return of the Jedi, between those two. So I like that era. That means that they're going to be having more of that feel, the traditional stormtroopers walking around, but not necessarily up in your face. I hope not, with references. In fact, I hope that there's very, very little references. I know the one controversy that's going on right now with this is people are mad that there's a DLC mission that involves Jabba the Hutt that you have to get the like season pass for or something. I don't care. In fact, I hope I don't see Jabba the Hutt. I want a completely original story that's just in the universe of Star Wars without slapping me across the face with just references.
It looks like an extra mission. Tickle that nostalgia, and it's separate from the story. It's just kind of like, hey, we're going to take you out of your regular game and let you play this little side quest.
Yeah, which is totally cool, but it's just weird that that's the big controversy people have. And there's a few controversies with games that we'll be talking about today that
there could be a lot worse problems with a game besides DLC content.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean? Like there's games that, like, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what they do out of the box. It's a shit sandwich. You know what I mean? And I'd rather take a game that's very well done, that offers me the opportunity to buy more content if I'm tapped out and I've played everything on it, and now I want to do the Jabba the Hutt thing. I could pay a little extra money and get some bonus stuff.
Exactly.
See, it's also a good sign when they're not trying to play too hard into the nostalgia effect, because then you get things like Starfield, where it's like, yeah, nostalgia, and the rest of it was pretty half-baked, because I was sitting there like, I'm super excited. The annoying fan from Oblivion is here. And then you get to the end of the game, it's like, new game plus, here you go. I'm like, this kind of sucks.
I wasn't going to enjoy Space
not
Game
much.
anyway. Anybody that's been watching my coverage of Gamescom this week has found out really quickly I don't like space games very much.
Yeah, Room don't like Space Game.
I need a game where I can get crunk.
Don't get crumped.
Don't get crunked. For anyone that doesn't know, we've been playing a good bit of Speed Freaks, the new 40K game that was not at Gamescom.
Well, they didn't even talk about it at Gamescom, and it just it's in beta still, right? Technically, we're playing the test for it or whatever, or the beta.
Yeah, technically.
There's more to come with that one. Yeah. We did a whole review on it. You can go watch that on the Inner Geekdom. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Go check it out. We have a whole video review of that game.
Yep. So, but yeah, so let's go and pass it over to Drusy. Did you have a game that kind of stuck out to you that you would like to kind of start out a conversation about?
I would say there's a couple that stuck out. I'm trying to remember the name of the one.
Describe it for me. I probably know it.
I already knew I was going to forget about them.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
The one that's pretty much an Animal Crossing ripoff, but
Oh, Flowtopia.
it looks like a good ripoff.
Flowtopia. It has taken a lot of influence from Animal Crossing, but with Animal Crossing, the only thing we've got from it this year was a crossover with the aquarium, and they're not adding any more DLC to the game. So everybody fell off of Animal Crossing after about 6 months because nothing new was added to it. So,
well, to follow up with what Thane was saying and you were saying, it's like too many first-person shooters out there, and the reason that is popular and people like them. So they made a whole bunch more of them.
Yeah.
We can't go wrong if somebody says Animal Crossing was a success. Let's make more games that are like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing or Harvest Moon. Let's make games that people like to play that are like that. Nothing wrong with that. If it succeeds, then that's because people freaking like it.
And the multiplayer aspect, I feel like a game that is not connected with Nintendo has a lot more liberty to add cross play with people that Nintendo won't do, because they're even though they have cross play on their platform, it's always in their weird, not quite normal Nintendo way for some reason that just doesn't use any modern way of linking up to play games with people.
You can come to my house, but you can't touch anything.
I hope that they can kind of break down some of those barriers in a similar way like Power World did for Pokemon, because although I did enjoy the new Animal Crossing, I think that it lost a lot of the spirit of the earlier games, which, if you didn't know, Jared, the earlier games, your neighbors picked on you. The other animals, there was certain ones that were just kind of jerks, and that was part of the charm. That's what made it fun. You would get rivalries with a random cat neighbor that you're just like, I can't wait for you to move out, you stupid son of a gun. You would just get those feelings that you're just at the end of the day, it's like, this is a game probably made for 10-year-olds, but screw that cat, man.
Yeah, I feel like Stardew Valley does well.
Yeah, it does. The humor,
you can give people certain items and they'll like you, and some people, no matter what you do to them, they just want nice to say to you.
And actually, he's still adding stuff to that game.
Yeah,
he's still working on it.
Oh,
He's
of course.
supposed to have a big update coming.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I do like the idea of having something that is essentially a spinoff. Thane, do you have any thoughts on Flowtopia? Did you see the trailer for this one?
I didn't really watch a lot of it. It's not something that I get a lot of enjoyment out of, but mostly because if I'm going to do something like that, I do something like survival crafting.
That's fair.
7 Days to
That's
Die
very fair. Yeah. Or
because I still need
or Red Dead Redemption. We could always use the help with that, by the way, since now I own a general store and a server.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll hire you on, and you can help me stock it if you get in a fun crafting mood. But But I do get what you're saying, though, is those games do kind of lean towards a particular crowd, whereas a lot of the games that we do play have mechanics like that. You want to build a house? We can do it in a lot of the games that we play. You want to, go farming? Sure. But I will say these types of games do tend to draw in a lot more of the casual gamers. And a lot of the times, that's the only time I'm getting to play games with those people. So this does have a draw for me, getting a chance to play with people such as probably like my nieces that I don't normally get to play games with them because what I'm playing might be a bit too complicated for them at their age.
Fair.
Yeah. So, anybody else have any thoughts on Flowtopia before we move on to our next game?
No.
All right. Well, let's talk about Inzoi because this one is blowing up online right now. This is the game that pretty much looks like The Sims cranked up to 11 because those avatars are crazy, insane detailed to the point that they actually released a demo where you can download that character creator and just play with it. I already have a demo video up on the YouTube and plan to make more videos going around it. This game looks fun as hell. What are your guys' thoughts on it? Obviously, I'm already sold. Anything
I
else?
think go ahead, Drusy. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, it looks insanely detailed.
Yeah.
Like even being able to use images from online in the game to make stuff.
Not just online. I played around with this already. You can take images directly from your computer and upload them into the game, put them on the clothing as patterns, or even on the character's nails. I had different nail patterns going off of a pattern that I had on my computer. It's that level of detail. So fun.
That's crazy.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Go ahead, dude.
No, you first. You first.
I would be a little bit hesitant about that feature sticking around because it's very reminiscent of what was it? You could have your custom clan sigils in some games.
Oh yeah,
and people promptly ruined that for everyone.
I don't know though. I mean, there's no good way to just outright get rid of it. You just have to have a good flagging system. I don't think that with the game that's going to have any level of customizing to it, that you're going to be able to stop it outright. I will say that I hope that it stays around because one of the features that I really like about this is it's going to have basically what is essentially its own search engine of creations made by people playing the game. So if you make a really cool house or a really cool design for nails or some really cool clothing, you can upload it on there and people can actually use it. And to the point that like when you're creating clothing, you can choose how long the sleeves are, pants or whatever, how long that is, and add your own designs to it.
That and from the time back in the day, like Counter-Strike, for example, you used to be able to make custom sprays as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you could put anything you made into an image as your spray. So it could be adult material or something, stuff like that. Fun, amazing guys spraying it on the wall, hanging out together. And so you could have stuff like that. But now if you try to post anything like that on most social media, what happens? It doesn't even take a person to notice it.
Yeah.
The bots can tell that you're posting content that is against their standards or their rules. They can tell. They can spot gore, they can spot violence, they can spot adult natured things, all kinds of stuff. Like I could probably even tell if there's illegal substances and stuff like that. So what I'm thinking is if it has to go through their server, I'm sure if you tried to go put someone with very little clothing on into your t-shirt or something, then it would catch it and be like, this might not meet our community standards. And the few things that happen to make its way past that marker are not only going to get caught and reported, but they're going to be added to whatever bot searches those image.
Now,
go ahead.
I was just gonna go ahead and do your response because then I just want to do one more little bit before we move on to the next game because we have a lot to talk about still.
Fair. I was just gonna say that the only sticky thing that I initially got worried about is like sticky. That was initially worried about because it's like, people could put things that are offensive or inappropriate and da da da. I'm sort of like, I have a I have a Man-O-War T-shirt that I can't wear anymore because I've grown out of it, and they stopped performing probably before I was born.
Mm.
Most of their artwork definitely qualifies under the "this is probably not appropriate." It's like, so I can't have a band tee anymore? Like, where's the
Yeah, I mean it'll
where's the middle ground?
I'm sure that they're gonna have some terms of service that you have to sign, whenever you're going into the game. It's worth probably looking into for that one if you're going to post content to it. I will say, just as kind of a closing note on this game, I really am happy to see some competition for The Sims. I think that they are milking their fan base. Not that it's a bad game. I just think that they are putting out such little things. They'll be like, we're putting out a t-shirt pack, $20, please. I think that they're milking their fan base because their fan base doesn't have somewhere else to go to. I know that the next Sim is currently in development, and I hope that this game is scaring them into making a better game.
I think there's a lot of games that are from independents and other third parties that are scaring these developers, and I hope it's a healthy competition where we just, they fight it out, they all make money, and we get better games. So I hope that's the outcome.
Well, actually, I think that brings up a really fun topic. Well, I'm going to say fun because I know that me and you both agree on this, and I think that once we kind of say our side of things, why we probably also all agree on it, and that is the competition that Black Myth Wukong is going to bring to the video game industry. For anyone that doesn't know, this is the first big AAA game coming from China, and it is getting ridiculous reviews. Some people are mad because of censorship that had to do with the game, but I'm sorry to tell everyone, you can get mad at me about this all you want. That censorship is not because of the game studio, it is because of the country that it is being produced with. Don't get mad at the game studio, get mad at China if you have a problem with that. And I have been very much on note about my thought about China's censorship on this channel before, so don't get mad at me about it, but I just feel like I need to put that out there if we're going to be adults and kind of move forward with this conversation, because there is that controversy that is coming off of this game. I am glad that we're getting competition from China. It's a good game. I think it's going to make us
we should.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have no problem with competition from China on anything, whether it's cars or anything else. What I don't agree with is if we were to just say, well, let's just stop making video games. We'll write down what we want to make and we'll send it to China so we don't have to pay Americans to do it. Then I get a little annoyed. But if China wants to make a game and it's a good game and it goes with their communities, like what they expect their community to put out.
Right.
As a country, then that is what it is. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
If it came out of like a super Christian country that it doesn't allow people to show their kneecaps or something, I'd be like, that's fine. Like, play the game. I'm sure there are games that we've played and we don't even think about it because it's not China. Well, because it comes from a culture where they probably don't wear short sleeves or things like that, and you don't notice it in the game because you're just enjoying the game. And you should do the same with a game out of China.
Well, and that's kind of an annoyance that I have with people in general when it comes to the game industry, when they're getting mad that a game isn't too diverse. And I am a champion for diversity. Anybody on here can tell you that, but you have to use common sense sometimes. And one of the times that I remember this happening was with The Witcher, where people were mad there's not enough diversity in the characters in The Witcher. Where was The Witcher written? It wasn't like Sweden or something. Please tell me about the diversity of the people there. I'm sorry, that's just realistic. You need to look at the culture of where a game is being made.
Yeah, like interjecting in it. It'd be like wanting to watch Avatar, not the Airbender, but the
blue Pocahontas people.
The blue people, yes, and then be like, they're all blue. That's messed up. You know what I mean? It's like, no, it takes place on this planet, and the Marines are there mining stuff, and the natives that live there happen to be blue people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no red ones, right? But if you're making a movie that's like a comedy set in New York City, and there's a whole bunch of white dudes on there and no women or anyone else, then I would be a little equally as confused. Exactly. I'd be like, have you been to New York City, man? That's that is literally the melting pot of the U.S.
Yeah.
So, any more thoughts on this one before we move on to another game that I know a lot of us are actually very excited for?
So I'm excited for Black Myth Wukong simply because the hill that I stood on for a long time with a lot of games of its like, and just the difficult, big climactic battle stuff like that, is when the Soulsborne franchise was first coming out.
Mhm.
If Dark Souls 1 did not scratch that borderline masochistic itch, it would have flopped,
Right.
and for good reason. It wasn't great mechanically speaking. Now they've greatly improved, but there's still a handful of things like wonky hit frames, stuff like that. And if somebody else comes out and they fix those types of issues, it gives me a lot of hope for the genre.
Well, and it's funny that you bring up a Souls-like, because people, like I said, people are getting mad that it's like, oh, the game of the year this year might be from China. All I've got to say to that is then get good. Make your games better. Get good. Like, literally, take your own advice.
Because what I described earlier is not happening. There's still American studios. There's still all this stuff going on, and we definitely want to buy your games, America. Quit resting on your laurels by just regurgitating the same crap, talking to you, Bethesda.
I mean,
and
it's
a
Japan
bunch of other
too. Look at
companies.
Pokemon.
And EA. Well, Japan is a Western country. You know what I mean? Even though it's over there in the East.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, so like they have the decadence and all the fame from some people that came before them that came up with great ideas, and now that now that they've made the companies that we all know and love, Nintendo and Bethesda and Microsoft and all these companies that have just put out amazing stuff, like thank you for Halo, thank you for all this different stuff, right? It's like, but you've just been regurgitating without innovating. And these other people that have been in the sidelines and learning how to code and learning how to write games, they've been sitting back and go like, I could make that game 10 times better. I could make a game just like that 50 times better. And you could use 50 different examples across the board where they go, well, maybe time hasn't, helped out with that. And you're like, well, look at some of these games. Look at like a Madden, look at like a WWE games. Right. And it's almost as if they've taken away features because they're lazy. They're like, back in 2007, you had all this, and this. And then they come out with the new game, and wrestling is notorious for this. Like
2019 was awful. There's a reason they had to take a year
2K12,
off.
I think it was, or 2K11 wrestling game was like, it had so many options for creator wrestling. And then I ended up getting a later version, like 15 or 16. And it's like they took away clothing options. They took away hair. They took away all this stuff. It's like, shouldn't there be more content with the new game?
2019 was such a bust that they had to take a year off and completely remake the engine because they just kept using the same one. And it was such a broken game by the time that they put it out that they had to take a whole year off to redo it.
And this crap where you think you could just put out this game and people are going to buy it again, it'll work for a while. But when you get countries like China, and watch out, because that's not the only country you're going to be dealing with. Korea and other.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna put out games that are better.
Korea's a big one, actually.
And these people are going to go bankrupt because they're going to go put out a game and spend millions of dollars developing it, and it's going to sell 5,000 copies. And they're going to go, "What happened?" And they go, "Everyone's playing Wukong. Everyone's playing this other game that they invented."
I mean, a lot of Korean games are like that. When you go and look at your Honkai Star Rail or games like that are really popular, your Impacts.
And if you lay down for them, they will take over everything. They will make a football game that's better than Madden, and people are going to play it because the gameplay's good, and they're going to be like, well, you can't be the Atlanta Falcons, and you're like, that's fine. I want to play a good football game.
Now that being said, some of the games that are coming out, though, do look pretty good. When we're talking about a franchise that improves every single time that it puts out a game that you not only see adapting, but you have to adapt in the game to your environment. It's none other than Monster Hunter Wilds, which they have had so much information coming out for lately. Every single time Monster Hunter puts out a new game, it seems like it's only getting better as a franchise. I am very much looking forward to this game, obviously. Your guys' thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds?
It's on my list. It's on my list. I still haven't played Monster Hunter. I've seen it, and it looks amazing.
Oh, so good. I played so many of them.
I've definitely, the first one I ever played was 3DS.
Yeah, same.
And then the first one that I played and really got into
Worlds.
was, of course, Worlds.
Yep, Worlds is just fantastic. It seems like this, well, because for anyone that doesn't know, they do a similar thing with Monster Hunter that they do with like Call of Duty, or like they're doing with Pokemon now, where there is a company that makes the mainline games, and then there is the one that makes the more experimental ones that usually ends up on like a Nintendo console. There's a third one now for stories, but that's kind of like separate from the main series. So we're now going from the Monster Hunter Worlds. We had Rise, which was the more quirky Nintendo series. We're back to the main line, and I love that this does it, because instead of it being an every other year, you have bigger gaps, but they still use that same method, so you're still getting that itch scratched. When was Monster Hunter Worlds? Do you guys remember? Because it was a while ago. This was like PlayStation 4, one of the best games on it. So I'm very excited that we are getting into this generation's definitive Monster Hunter game.
Oh, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, I watched the video and I was like, it looks insane.
Mm-hmm.
I loved because I'd played a little bit on like the Wii, because I mean, until Worlds, I think everything was on Nintendo.
It was, yes.
But I loved playing the Lancer,
Mm-hmm.
because there are very few games that strike that fine balance with that type of playstyle, because it's like either it's super fast and super hectic, and I'm like, I don't really like this.
Yeah.
Or if you're playing something that's that slower roll, it's that I'm going to stand here and it's going to take 45 minutes for either of us to hurt each other.
Yeah.
You can feel like that unstoppable wall without just slogging through gameplay. It's wonderful.
Mhm.
It's so nice that you do have such a different gameplay with each weapon style that you use. So you really, you're not just going to be going and picking up a weapon and using it just like the last one you used. There's a finesse in a way to use that weapon. It is a fantastic series. Jared, I know that you played a little bit of Rise, but not much, right?
No, I still haven't gotten around to be able to play it. I want to play it. I've seen it. I like what I see. We'll have to make some time for that. Set aside, buddy, little buddy adventure.
Yeah, it'd be a fun
Jump in there because it's co-op, right?
Oh yes, that's the reason to play. I mean, they're fun solo. They're fantastic co-op, because you really can come up with fun hunting strategies. Because that's the thing. These animals, these monsters that you're hunting are adaptive, and they're even more so in this one. It's looking like if you don't hunt certain ones down, there'll start being more of them. If you overhunt them, they're going to be harder to find because you're going to thin out their populations. I'm loving that they're having a more adaptive environment going along with this version of the game.
Oh, so you can't go spam something that you got your strat down. Not only will it go away, but it also could figure you out and be like, oh, so that's how you're going to do it.
And if you lure animals into different biomes outside of their normal, they'll fight differently because they're having to adapt to the environment that they're in. Like, that is the beauty of this game. You have different traps. You have different, methods of like distracting the creatures, and like, it's so fun.
That's why I lower the fish into the desert. What are you going to do now, fish man? You're in the desert.
I mean, it is a great game. Drusy, what is your thoughts on this one?
I have. I mean, I've played actually a lot of Rise.
Yeah.
Sorry. From what you've told me about it, it definitely sounds like they're just adding even more to it than a whole lot.
Oh yeah.
I guess to the AI of it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
The very
of the right
adaptive
wording.
environment. It's going to be really fun. I mean, we have enough people that will definitely have some fun streams, because like I said, getting into that 4-person like group and just being like, okay, we're going to go and take down this particular thing is so fun. But yeah, so why don't we move on to another game? Does anyone want to interject with one they're excited for? I know I have been kind of throwing some out there, but I know I told you guys to go and find some that caught your eyes.
I've got more, but what do you got?
I got Mecha Break because I'm already excited for that game. There was a recent demo for it. It is very simple, fast, fun mecha of different diversities of mech depending on what you enjoy, in very typical versus type of modes. Go and capture the point, protect the cargo. There's going to be one where you go and like there's going to be an NPC hunt down one apparently on release, but it's mech, but the typical games that you love for pretty much every hero.
I
shooter type
didn't
of
get
game.
to play the trial. It ran out. You know, I didn't get around to it. But yeah, it looks cool. It looks fast paced. It looks like it's going to be a GPU sucker a little bit. You know, because it's got a lot of motion.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it though. Any thoughts on that one before we kind of move on? I don't want to spend too much time on that one. No?
Anything you're excited about, Zane?
Oh, Space Marine 2 is exciting.
Oh,
that's on my list as well.
Yeah. Let's hear about it. Go and give us that elevator pitch there, Zane.
So, if nobody's played the first one, it's really good. You don't get a lot of Warhammer 40K games that are good. So
but there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. But you go through as the Space Marine, you know, the big superhuman, and that does a good job of making you feel like one because you're cutting through orcs and demons and all this other stuff. But there was a nice time skip because you had a little rat that went, oh, you did not put an apostrophe on that report. You must be a heretic. And you had to go spend some time in a nice quiet room. But when you come back, you're still going through and you're fighting my personal favorite. Even in StarCraft, it's the Swarm, it's the Tyranids. I'm always excited to fight the Tyranids because there's so much you can do with them because their whole point is they eat, they assimilate. They're like the Borg, but bugs.
Yeah.
So if you're fighting one and it's like, wow, you know, we've been getting a lot of heavy concussive force. It'd be a shame if we had shock padding. Oh,
there was a game I really liked back in the day called Earth Defense Force, and
yeah,
it's outdated now. It's not as much fun as it felt like it was back in the day. But this game kind of seems like, in my mind, the type of gameplay I would want if they made a new EDF game, Earth Defense Force.
It kind of gave me a little bit of Gears of War feel almost as well.
Gears of War is a little more strategic though, because you're kind of like duck and cover, and it's like one or two combatants can give you enough trouble that you could die, right? If you don't plan it out correctly.
Right.
Whereas
but this feels like
this game looks like it might have moments like that, but it's also like there's gonna be a bunch of stuff where you have like 400 of something coming at you.
Yeah, but it definitely does feel slower than like a Halo or something like that. And I do like that aspect of it. Like, sure, plenty of enemies coming at you, but you're not like sprinting. You're like heavy on them. And I enjoy that as a change of pace because I'm not big on shooting games, but I do kind of want to give this one a try. It looks like it might be a bit different than what I'm like usually a little bit more adverse to playing.
Mm-hmm.
Any more thoughts on good old Warhammer 40K Space Marines 2? We good? All right. Anybody want to put on the next one, or am I picking up this one as well?
Juicy?
I mean, I did think Reanimal looked interesting.
Ooh, yeah. This one looked like the creepy co-op with like the evil farm coming after you. Like, this one does look like it'll be a creepy fun time.
It looks like to me they made a game that has outdated graphics and they went and put a bunch of filters over. Like if you're working with editing software for the first time, and then just put like some like Conker's Bad Fur Day level 3D animations in it, but then made them so unrecognizable that they look spooky. They're like, give it 8 arms and 2 heads and make it move like this, right? Because then it's like it's unnerving. Right, so it could be good, but it also kind of looks like it might be frustrating to play. It looks kind of.
I don't know. I think that this definitely goes a little bit more with that indie kind of art styling that can be really fun. I don't necessarily think that it'll be for everyone, obviously, because this is definitely in that kind of indie co-op genre that is a lot more experimental, that I know for a fact that my girlfriend is like very, very into. So if this game is co-op like it kind of looks like it is, it's definitely something that's going to play into more of her style of games that she enjoys.
I mean, you could take a dump in a box and call it indie, but I'd rather just play good games.
I mean, you play Call of Duty, you have no room to talk, Jared.
That's the best first-person shooter ever made.
I mean, I don't know about all that.
Tell me a better one.
I'm just saying, I have a lot of like family
Wait.
members that'll tell you Halo is better than Call of Duty.
I'll stir this pot. Battlefield.
Battlefield Bad Company 2 was my game, man.
It's cool, but I'm talking about like once Warzone came out, the best FPS system gameplay. I mean, I don't even want to. We've talked about it too much. It's called.
Yep. All right, so I did want to bring up, I know that this is kind of outside of the video games that came out, but it is still connected, and that is Secret Level. This is a new anthology series by the same people that made Love, Death, and Robots. So they basically went and took a bunch of video game franchises, and they're getting single episodes in that same kind of styling. I am beyond excited for this. This looks so good.
This is excited. This is Rune.
I'm an animation nut. I went to college for animation, so things like this are very exciting to me because
I watched the reaction live. He was nerding out for this.
They get a lot.
This isn't like when people type "LO" and like, really, you're laughing out loud. No, Rune was to the moon watching this. He's like, I'm so excited about this. Like his pirate beard was going like this. Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, you have to understand that they go and get a lot of more experimental 3D animation companies to make these things that really highlight the industry in ways that normally don't get highlight because you're only focused on whatever Marvel or Pixar movie is coming out. So I really enjoy getting to see a little bit outside of that scope, or at least people that don't normally get to see outside into that, you know, a little bit more of that is. I just think it's a good thing. It's going to be using, of course, there's like a God of War episode that they're doing. There is a Warhammer 40K episode that they're doing. Of course, all of the animation looks top notch. Like this really does look good. Who all has seen this trailer? You have not seen it yet. Okay, Jared.
Watch it. Yeah. I'm telling you, you got to look at it. It looks really good.
It is top notch. Drewsy,
and it's the same people that did, what's it called?
What's Death and Robots?
Yeah, the same people that did that.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of that?
Interesting.
Love, Death, and Robots was awesome.
I love it. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Love, Death, and Robots is freaking awesome. All right, well, moving on to the next one, just because I know that this is one that Jared and I think Drewsy, possibly they know more than I would on it, and that is the new Civilization.
That's 7. The last one on my list. That's the last one on my list.
Look at me go. Look at me go. Go ahead. You know more about it than I do because I played a little bit of Civilization, but I'm not like a big enough fan to really speak on it.
I have not I have not watched the trailer for the new game, but okay. I mean I do like Civilization.
Okay, so you're
it looks like already better than 6, which it wasn't that awful, but it wasn't that good either, right? It went on sale for. It was not as good as Civ 5. It was definitely a downgrade. Graphically, I think it looked a little better and stuff like that. But I think they're experimenting with stuff, and I think they saw what works and what doesn't, and hopefully we'll get a better thing with 7. The thing about Civ games, and this goes all the way back to the very first one even, I've had a thing that I tell people all the time, and I go, I think Civilization should be a class in middle school. Or something that you do for like a whole semester of like a period of class where you just sit and your job is to write reports on
what's
your
happening
experiences.
In your civilization.
It's Civ, yeah, exactly. Because it teaches you a lot about resources. It teaches you a lot about warfare. It teaches you a lot about diplomacy, and it's got historical characters you can play as and stuff like that. So it makes people familiar with certain people and certain concepts and certain types of governments, because you can choose what type of government that you're running with. Like if you're going to have a monarchy or democracy or communism, so and depending on what government you choose.
Are you saying I can be the Spanish Inquisition?
Kind of, actually. Yeah, you probably could.
Oh, I gotta be there, man. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
I mean, the Inquisition comes when you discover nuclear warfare, and you just go in and be like, yeah, you will trade me 800 gold per turn. And they're like, no. And you're like, boom.
One thing I think is interesting with the trailer was it had cross like genre, I guess, where you could like, you know, I think that that's a mode. It's not going to be an all the time thing, to where you can kind of have like Egyptian like stuff going on in your very futuristic town or whatever. So
No, they've already had that because
they did allow
whenever
that?
you play, you pick a world leader at the beginning, and each
Okay.
world leader will have a different ability and a different negative. You know,
Mhm.
like you might have Genghis Khan who can, you know, the troops move one extra space, but you also make this much less gold, or you know, they'll come up with something creative
Yeah.
for it.
Or
You could be like, or if you're like you're Abraham Lincoln, you get these certain troops early on this
Right.
era. You know, this
That's
era
cool.
gets you, you know, bullets or something, right? It'll be
Right.
a different thing for each character you pick. So it's already been that, but I hope that they'll leverage a little bit, like depending on what leader you pick. I'd
Yeah.
like to see the civilizations have a different look to them,
Mhm.
depending on if you pick Western, like, you know, Abraham Lincoln or Winston Churchill or something, you'll get more Western looking stuff,
Yeah.
English looking stuff. Whereas if you pick Cleopatra, your stuff will stay Egyptian looking. You know, that'd be cool.
Right. Okay, well, I mean, it does look like it's going to be a fun game. Any more thoughts on Civ 7?
Yes, I have a few more. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, then we will move on to Borderlands 4. It didn't have any gameplay. I think that they're just trying to, you know, put a little bit of a blanket over the dumpster fire of a movie that they just put out. But we did finally know that the next one is Borderlands 4. Any thoughts beyond
Next year. It's a next year release too. This is things
Yep.
where they say coming soon, and then you find out it may be 2027 before you see it. This is next year, you know, barring any catastrophes of delays or strikes or anything going on in the industry.
Right.
This should be a game you'll be able to play next year.
Yeah. I love Borderlands. I'm looking forward to it. It's a fun co-op game. I have heard that this one might have a online mode that is like an open world with other players. I do not know the validity to that. That is the rumor mill. Do not hold that against me if it is not true, but that has been what the rumor mill is saying right now. So I'm not against it as long as there is the ability to choose PvP and PvE servers, because maybe I want to run around a world that I'm not just getting Mad Max.
That technology is so easy. The problem with it is that sometimes people lean on that open world connectivity thing, and they expect the other players to bring you quality content, which is rarely the case with people on the internet, whether it be Facebook or a video game.
Yeah.
You want the game to be good, but also be able to play with your friends. And remember that, game makers. That's
going to be a big one with Borderlands, because the personality of it is so important to the franchise. You strip away that personality, you don't have Borderlands anymore.
You just have a big map.
Yeah,
that you can run around in. Yeah.
We already have games that play like Borderlands. It is the personality that brings so much to it.
Yeah, I want to be in a book. I want to be in the book.
So, any more thoughts on Borderlands 4? What do you got, Vane?
I definitely don't have a lot of high hopes for it.
Oh no!
Just because, like, 1, solid.
Yeah.
2, loved it.
Yeah.
Pre-sequel, that they were trying out some new mechanics. All right, cool. 3, I wasn't that big of a fan of it, but that was primarily because if you don't give me the option to skip cutscenes, it's one of those, like, I can get behind a story that I'm not a fan of if I can get past it, but if I'm forced to sit there and watch and go, so I'm an NPC.
I can understand.
I've been the one going off of the ship and doing the fighting and doing all of this, but I'm the NPC. Make it make sense.
I get you, man. I mean, I enjoyed Tiny Tina's, actually. I thought that was a quirky, fun game. That was a bit more off the normal for them, though. So, but yeah, I kind of hope that they bring back being able to make your own character like they did in Tiny Tina's instead. No offense to the characters that they normally have. They do have fun options, but I would be a lot more happy, especially if they're going to have an online mode to where you can go and play with a bunch of other people beyond just your normal 4-player co-op. I would like a lot more diversity in what the players are going to look like, as opposed to just variants on the same 4 characters.
And if the hype of the what's the one game that's like The Sims earlier?
Enzoi.
So if the hype behind the character created on Enzoi is any indication,
People
that
love
should
them.
tell that should tell game companies a lot. That we want functionality and diversity in the character creation. We want 50 different hair for the guys, 100 for the girls. We want a bunch of different beards. I want to be able to make one side blonde and the other side black.
We like that kind of thing.
Unlimited.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to make their character unique and
It'll
to
draw
their
me
taste.
to a game.
It will. It's half the fun of playing wrestling and football and stuff is you make your own character on.
It's one of the things that brought me into Phantasy Star was it has a fantastic character creator and an active combat system. So I was like, oh, I'm not just going to look like everyone else. I get to be what I want to be in the game. That is such a draw for someone like me, especially since I really like to get into the roles of those characters that I play. So like we're going to shotgun a few more really quick. Harry Potter Quidditch champions. Any interest in this one? Yeah, I think Quidditch is a stupid game anyway for anyone that reads or watches Harry Potter, which I have done both multiple times. Quidditch makes no sense as a sport. It shouldn't be a video game because it is a stupid sport. And Joan, is this see you next Tuesday?
All right then.
The first Berserker Kazan, actually very excited about this game. It is a Souls-like with a very anime kind of cel-shaded aesthetic, but gritty as all hell. And I'm here for it. Like, it's looking like Berserk for me, you know, like I'm looking at it and I'm just like, hell yeah. We haven't really got as many Souls-like with this art styling, and I'm glad that they didn't strip away the gore and grittiness of it because of the more cel-shaded, cartoony graphics of it. So, has anyone else seen this one? Any interest in the first Berserker Kazan? Nope. All right. Anything? All right.
I'd have to see more.
Okay, fair enough. Goat
See
Simulator
more butts.
Remastered. Goat Simulator Remastered. This trailer, I don't know if the game is gonna be any good, but if anything else,
Goat Simulator.
Goat Simulator Remastered. This is the one that it looks.
It's one of those games where if you want to go waste some time for a little bit and you're not worried about it, it's for people who like playing games with the cheat codes turned on. You just want to run around and make problems.
I played one of them. It's goofy. This one looks like they're just adding more goofy. If you don't want to play the game, at least watch the trailer they just put out. I even have a reaction of it on the channel if you just want to go and see my reaction to it, because it is very over the top. Like, it is probably the funniest reaction I had to any trailer, right up there with this other game.
It's meme vomit is what it is.
It really is.
It's meme vomit.
But yeah, this other game that got a trailer, Squirrel with a Gun. Has anyone seen the Squirrel with a Gun trailer? Oh yes, it has a handgun, and it is still a normal squirrel size. And it's another, it looks a little bit.
Wait. The gun is human size,
yes.
but
the squirrel is normal
regular.
size. Yes.
The squirrel's the size of a squirrel and the gun is the size of a gun.
Yes.
Okay.
It's hilarious. Like, and it's doing like all of these kung fu moves to kick around the gun and stuff, and it's like, it's ridiculous. It looks
it's like a little bit of physics base in there. So
very
if
much so.
Caliber pistol, it would go spin around.
Oh yeah. So it looks ridiculous. It's supposed to be ridiculous. It looks a little bit more contained, weirdly enough, than Goat Simulator. Like Goat Simulator, it feels like you're just kind of thrown in there with no direction. This at least it looks like it's gonna have some objectives of some sort. Like if you played that Wanted Raccoon game, like it's chaos, but there were still missions that you were going on in that chaos. Which, by the way, Wanted Raccoon, very fun game, has co-op if you want to go and be raccoons causing causing chaos. This is a genre, if you didn't know, Jared.
Trash Panda time. Let's go.
Yeah, this is a whole genre, and I'm here for it. So that's all of the major games I have to put out there. Do you guys have any more that you guys want to throw out before we call it for the day?
I just want to throw up.
Oh, well, don't do it in the stream. I don't want to clean it up.
Yeah, like while you're don't cross the streams.
I just have to go. All right, it looks like we are good. That is what we had so far of Gamescom. So far, it's not over yet. We still have tomorrow. Make sure that you tune in 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I will be reacting to the Video Game Awards. I understand that 10 a.m. is an odd time. That is because Gamescom is in Germany, so get over it. I've been having to wake up and start streaming at 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning, so you can...
I seen it.
Yeah, it's not a pretty time for me. So make sure that you go and watch that tomorrow. But yeah, Gamescom, some pretty exciting stuff. I'm kind of happy to see some stuff that isn't just the normal AAA BS that we normally get at these type of things, where it's just those first party titles that you get smacked around with. We get to see some stuff that normally probably wouldn't get the same amount of highlight, and I'm kind of happy for that. But yeah, we'll go around one more time so that way everybody can kind of give their shout outs of what they need to do. Of course, I am Rune. Make sure that you are liking, subscribing, following, whatever you need to do for the Inner Geekdom here. We'll be putting out a lot more content over on the TikTok and the YouTube. Thane, go ahead and give your shout outs, my guy.
I don't really have any shout outs. You know, I'll be on occasionally, Speed Freaks, Red Dead, Fantasy Star, but that's about it.
Cool. Drusy, what you got for us?
Yep, that's Drusy. I mostly stream the stuff to Twitch, TikTok, and play stuff with
me. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun with Fantasy Star. We're gonna start having VR days on Wednesday, so that's gonna be fun. We're gonna have Miss Hinahima actually joining us for those, so that'll be a good time. J-Rod, it's your turn to go and give yourself a little bit of a little press junket here. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what you're going to be up to? Because I do believe you have an event coming up. Do you not?
Oh yes, if you can hear the sound of my in Denton, Texas, September, it will be my 4th annual music festival that I put on. We have vendors, we have bands all day, starting at 3 o'clock, going until well past midnight. It is called Rub and Chug. It will be at the long-standing music venue Rubber Gloves Rehearsal Studios, which has been around since the late 90s and has continually improved. It's a great music venue out in Denton, Texas. If you do live far away from Denton, like within a few hours from there, it is worth the drive to go and hang out there all day. There's lots of cool people, lots of great bands. But most importantly, I want to give this channel a shout out. You can find me on TikTok at jrod_live. That's well and fine. Go and like it, subscribe to it, whatever you want to do. But most importantly, go to the Inner Geekdom. Inner Geekdom is on multiple platforms. You may be watching on Twitch or YouTube or TikTok. It's on all of those platforms. Go and give it a like. Go and give it a subscribe. Watch the videos. Comment down below. Ask us questions. We'll read those comments and we'll bring them up on the show. Like, do all of that. Help us grow, because this channel is in its infancy right now and it's continuing to grow at a more steady pace. Nothing too impressive just yet, but seriously, if you're watching it and you like it, it doesn't take very much effort to give us a little bit of love. Go to all the platforms, not just the one you're on. Take 2 minutes and just go on your Twitch, go on your TikTok, go on your YouTube, hit that subscribe button and show us some love. The Inner Geekdom. And we'll bring you all the content. That's all you got to do. And after that, we do.
Yeah, we got a lot of fun
Room
stuff
doesn't
coming
work.
Well, I mean, yeah, we do have a lot of content. We have a lot more content coming up. I'm going to be posting up a lot more stuff about the games that we didn't even get a chance to talk about because there was just that many that happened at Gamescom. I already have, I think, about 14 videos up on the YouTube to go and watch, or if you prefer, over on the TikTok, you can go and watch it there. But yeah, have you guys a wonderful day. Thank everybody for stopping in, and we will see you next week. Make sure you stop in tomorrow morning to go and watch the Video Game Awards. Have yourself an amazing night.